It's time to hit some Monday Night Football props here on CBS Sports Network. Larry, get us started. We're going to start with a passing prop.
Well, Jared Goff loves being not under pressure. A 130 passer rating, that's been his history wherever he's been. And tonight, we know the Ravens won't have their top two pass rushers. We also know that Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey are dealing with groin injuries. Both will be out there, but they could be affected. And this is a Ravens team that's given up almost 300 yards passing per game so far. We could also have a trailing game script for the Lions as significant underdogs. All of that said, I love Jared Goff to go over 260 and a half passing yards because of everything I just laid out.
Mackenzie, Jared Goff's over, I'm sure, looks appealing with this game total in that 53 and a half range. But you're going the other way in terms of Lamar. You like the over, but you're just going to a different quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner we realize that Lamar Jackson is the NFL's leading career passer rating, the sooner we just get that through our heads and that he's actually good at passing the ball to his wide receivers on top of running the ball, the more money we'll all be making. His line was as low as 215 and a half at the beginning of last week. Now you can get it at 230, 235. I still like all of them because this is a guy who's averaging 240 yards going back to last season. He almost put up 300 against the Lions last season. And as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't have his tight ends for these short checkdowns, and he's having success finding these new guys. I mean, even Walker has 3 receptions. All of them are touchdowns. Like, he's having success with these other guys, with these wide receiver 2, 3, 4. I think DeAndre Hopkins has been phenomenal for him too. Doesn't need any, separation to catch a ball here. So either game script, whether they're getting up because they are passing the ball well or they're playing from behind, it's again just asking Lamar Jackson to do what he typically does through the air. I don't know why these lines always feel so low to me.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, 215 and a half early is pretty criminal there. I absolutely love the over there. And certainly at 230, 1.5 or so looks pretty good. Danny Brasco, talk to me about Jared Goff attempts.
Yeah, mine correlates with Larry, and I don't know if I'll get to the window with this, but I lean towards an inflated number still of over 34 and a half pass attempts for Jared Goff. I think the game script is going to play out in the favor of him having to air out the ball. I see the Lions being down in this game, and Larry mentioned a number of pass rushers that are out for the Ravens, but someone that they've sorely missed in the secondary is Darius Washington. He's not talked about enough. He was one of the top-rated defensive backs in PFF last season, and they've really been weak without him. So I think also without Frank Ragnow at center, the Lions' run blocking is not as dynamic. You lose 2 pass rushers for the Ravens. Maybe they feel a little more comfortable sitting back, dropping back to pass, especially if they're down in this game. So I think he's going to chuck the ball around. We see a high score, and we see a lot of pass attempts from Jared Goff.
All right, Larry, I'm going to go right back to you. Give me a rushing prop you like for Monday Night Football.
Justice Hill under 6.5 yards for his longest rush. He has not done it yet this year. He only gets 2 or 3 carries. I mean, his attempts prop is 2.5. But after what happened last week where Derrick Henry only got 11 carries, only got 23 yards against the Browns, and now his prop is up at 19 carries, 18.5 juiced over. So it's going to be a Derrick Henry game. I'm not sure Justice Hill is going to get a carry unless it gets out of hand. He may be featured in the passing game where he's more effective, but I don't know that he's going to get 2 or 3 carries, and I don't like him to go over 6.5 because that is one thing the Lions can do. They can stop the run. Both of these teams much better against the run than the pass.
I really like taking these longest rush prop unders to guys that we know are only going to get a handful of carries, if that. So I think this is a really smart play. Danny, you like a Lamar Jackson longest rush over?
Yeah, if you were playing the unders on this one, see, it didn't work out because he went over this number in 15 of 19 games last season. This is a guy that can break off that one big rush, and I like the longest rush total more than the yards if the game script goes away from Lamar needing to use his legs, which he may very well just decide not to put himself at risk. But be sure to grab that 15.5 number because he had 4 games last season where he landed exactly on 16. So I like the 15.5 here. That option play is so dangerous because the battering ram, Derrick Henry, can just run over the defensive line at any moment, and Lamar can just beat you to the edge, keep the ball, and break off a nice little chunk play. So I see him doing that one time. We have linebacker Jack Campbell for the Lions, questionable to play. Larry already talked a lot about the middle of the field defense. If he doesn't go or if he's compromised, Lamar can do what he wants. I think he definitely breaks off a 20-plus yard run tonight.
If you don't think these 15.5 versus 16.5 things matter, I can tell you that they do. I can attest to it from yesterday. I had a Dak Prescott longest completion prop. Of course, CeeDee Lamb kind of ruined that. But in the second half, it was a 37-yarder. Well, the line was 37.5, but it opened at 36.5. So I got to the line late. I missed the bet, and people who followed me missed that bet. So those margins absolutely matter. We're going to transition to the receiving props. And Mackenzie, I'm going to start with you because you like Jahmyr Gibbs here. And I just want to note from a rushing standpoint, I like his rushing attempt under 12.5. I just think it's a tick too high. I'm looking at 10 or 11 for Jahmyr, but you like his receiving yards.
Yeah, I just think this is a spot where Jared Goff will get uncomfortable. I know that there's a lot of injuries with the pass rush from the Ravens, but I do think they still will be able to make some noise here and make Jared Goff uncomfortable and want to just, dump off some of these passes here. And for what it's worth, you look back to that Green Bay game, which again I think is probably more similar than what we saw against the Bears. You saw 10 targets, 10 receptions, and it was just 31 receiving yards. So I don't want to go with the yards here. I just do think this is a comfortable spot for him. And I think Jared Goff will get uncomfortable and want to dump it off.
All right, Larry Hartstein, talk to me about Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I love Zay Flowers in this matchup. I mean, he is the clear number one. 7 catches each of the first 2 games. Isaiah Likely out. Mark Andrews not the same guy. And Zay Flowers has just been electric. In the first game, he had 3 catches of 23 or more yards. Then they had to play the Browns. And I'm just going to give everybody a mulligan for playing the Browns because that defense is just so great. And Kirby Joseph, the all-pro safety for the Lions, probably will be out there, but he's dealing with the hammy, won't be 100%. And Zay Flowers, he can take a short pass and go over 23.5, or he can get downfield. And we know Lamar has been very aggressive so far attacking downfield.
Yeah, I love how they find and just design plays for getting Zay Flowers in space, which is why, Larry, your play I like. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers over 69.5 receiving yards there. So hopefully both of those hit. But Danny Brasco, talk to me about a potential up-and-comer in Isaac Tesla.
This is a primetime play, see. I think that Dan Campbell want to get an exciting guy involved in this game at least once. And Isaac Tesla has gotten 1 catch and 1 target in each of the first 2 games. I think he gets 1 grab for more than 15 yards. I like his over receiving yards total today. And really, it's a vibes play. I think that this guy, you've seen him making these one-handed grabs already in a game that should be back and forth offensive affair. Tesla's got to get involved in there. They got to show off, their new special shiny toy. So look for him, even if it's just one time, to get an explosive play. I think Tesla gets involved and cashes this for us.
All right, I like this play as well. I think this has some ladder potential. If he does get more involved and gets 3 or 4 targets, catches 2 or 3 balls, we're looking at potentially downfield 40, 50 yards. So something to consider, maybe throwing an anytime touchdown prop there as well. All right, let's get to some game and team props. Mackenzie and Danny, you have the same play here. So Mackenzie, I'm going to let you make this play. I heard this play on the Early Edge Morning Show on the SportsLine YouTube channel as well. Talk to me about a Ravens team total.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I've just been after, honestly, blindly. I have the same team with Notre Dame in college football, and I take it with the Ravens as well. I mean, you talk about a team that's putting up massive numbers against some of the best defenses in the league, and you see what the Browns did to the Packers, which really makes you like it even more. Yes, you have to take it with a grain of salt because there were a lot of freak plays going on with all of those, but there are just so many ways that this Ravens offense can attack you. They're so dynamic in so many different ways, even without these tight ends as well. So maybe it's taking some time with a new defensive coordinator against a quality team like the Ravens. I just think they won't take their foot off the gas, especially after what happened week 1 against the Bills. So I see probably closer to 35, 36 points for this team.
I like it. Larry, hit us with your team prop.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and that correlates with mine. I have both teams to score 20 points, parlayed with Derrick Henry to score a touchdown, and that is going to give us some really good plus money. Derrick Henry, was totally held in check. If you saw his interviews this week, you know that he's coming out possessed. You know this is a better game script for him and a very high-scoring affair. He's very likely to get into the end zone, and both teams to score 20, but these are 2 of the most exciting offenses in football. The defenses right now, I would say mediocre, so I love this play at plus money.
Speaking of touchdowns, let's get to our first touchdown scores. They're always fun. Let's do it rapid fire style, though. Danny Brasco, I'm going to start with you. Give me a name, a number, and maybe a sentence to support it.
Well, I actually didn't get in a first TD pick, but I will tell you that I love the Ravens' first half team total because it's one of the best bets in football over the last 2 years. They're 25-11 to that. So that'll be my play, and I'll let you guys handle the first TD scores.
I heard Zay Flowers. Larry, go.
How about Isaac Tesla, 6'4", great red zone target. He only ran 4 routes in week 1, 11 routes in week 2. Everyone is saying we have this rookie. We're getting him more and more involved. How about a first touchdown at 40-1?
I'm big
Mackenzie Brooks.
I'm big in on this Tesla train for sure. I think I'll be putting some money in on him. I went with the classic Lamar Jackson. The fact that we're getting 11-1 on something like this, he had one against the Bills. I just think he feels the most comfortable with the ball, especially after Derrick Henry with some lack there of ball security. So I think he runs one in himself.
I like it. And by the way, speaking of Zay Flowers, Danny, jump aboard because BetMGM has Zay Flowers at plus 1,100 for your first touchdown score. Most outfits have him at plus 850, plus 800, maybe plus 900. I will say BetMGM has the best number. So let's all jump on Zay Flowers, Isaac Tesla, and Lamar Jackson. That's some pretty great numbers, in my opinion. All right, Mackenzie, you did great, in my opinion, like you always do. We're dropping you because you've got other things to do, but we're bringing on Mike McClure. It's more Monday Night Football bets with Mike, Larry, Danny, next. We're back on the early edge, and it's time to talk some totals, some sides, and maybe some team total plays as well. Mike McClure joins the party. And Mike, I'm going to start with you. We've talked a lot about props so far, but we haven't really given an opinion on a side. What's yours?
I'll give you a side and a total here. It's going to be Ravens. I'm looking at them early here. See, you're going to go over 13.5, minus 130 as a first half team total. Just simply looking for 2 touchdowns. That would also be a similar way. It could be listed at your book. Team total, touchdowns over 1.5 in the first half. I expect a nice scripted drive early. And when you look at Baltimore, it really has never been a question about scoring points, particularly early. It's been holding on to leads and putting football games away that has really been kind of their struggle. So I think they come out firing early. Love the conditions at home tonight. Going to go over 13.5 for a first half team total for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, Mike, we're going to get to a pick I like a lot later that correlates to A, your pick, and B, the fact that the Ravens can give up leads late. But I do like the Ravens minus 4.5. I got to be honest, Larry, I'm not in love with it. I think 4.5 is a lot of points, and I think there's some injuries on that Ravens side that I am maybe overlooking a bit too much. But again, I'm still on the Ravens because I just love them at home on Monday night and the Jared Goff splits, all of that. But you are on the Lions plus the points.
Yeah, the Ravens have given up the most passing yards in the league, and now they're down their best defensive lineman in Matabike, one of their best pass rushers in Kyle Van Noy. Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey both will be out there, but have been on the injury report all week with groin injuries. So it just sets up for a game where even if the Lions are down 10, we could definitely get through the back door. We have seen it time and time again, like you guys talked about. The Ravens have trouble closing out games. I do think this is going to be competitive throughout, but even if we get down a couple of scores, I feel confident that Jared Goff can get us a cover.
Danny, you're confident in what Larry has to say as well because you're not going to bother with the spread. You're going to pay the juice to take, what, the Ravens money line?
That's exactly right. More and more as I looked at that minus 225 price tag and shop around if you can find something better, I think that's value considering how dominant Lamar has been on Monday Night Football and at night at home as well. John Harbaugh, I mentioned, he's 23-4 straight up in home night games. Lamar 24-2 against the NFC. I know these are trends that maybe C is not too fond of, but I think the dominance is apparent. And against such an explosive team like the Ravens, who kind of got bottled up against the Browns, they had 21 rushes for 45 yards and they dropped 41 points. This team can explode at any time, and I don't want to lay that number because I do think it could be a shootout back and forth that maybe is decided by a field goal to a touchdown. We're looking at that 4 number margin. Instead, I'll believe that the Ravens can win this game, and I think considering how dominant they've been in this kind of spot, the minus 225 price is fair.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't think the Ravens are going to lose this game, but 4.5 again is a lot of points. Mike, we're going to go to totals next. You and Danny Brasco have some agreement here on a team total, and I believe Mackenzie Brooks was just on here talking about this as well. So we're all on the Ravens are going to score points train, correct?
Yeah, look, I think the Ravens continue to score points, 40 and 41 in the first 2 weeks of the season. And this, to me, profiles as a game where they also will be able to score. You talk about a team like Detroit, a team that has been in a ton of shootouts over the last few years. I think that's what we get here. But the thing that's interesting to me is why we're still sitting 29.5 and not 30.5. Now, the two numbers here that become extremely key are, of course, 30 and 31. The fact that we're not, I personally would still play it at 30.5, but at 29.5, 30 still a very key number when talking about an individual team total. I will pay to find out here on the Ravens, because I think that the offensive end of the field is not their issue at all. I think it's the defense keeping up with the passing attack. So let's go over 29.5 for the Ravens.
Larry, there's good reason to like the Ravens over, and you already gave us good reasons to like the Detroit over. So does that mean you're on the game total over?
Yeah, definitely. The Ravens have pushed both their games over the total despite facing the Cleveland Browns in week 2. They had enough explosiveness when they got those turnovers, when they got those miscues to push it over. But this is a case where you're facing a defense where your all-pro safety Kirby Joseph is banged up. The Lions have been getting torched over the middle of the field, which Lamar loves to attack. And we talked about all the Ravens' defensive injuries. So I just think you have two great offenses. I think we're going to get what everyone wants, which is something like 31-30, 30-24, and we go over the total.
Danny, we have a lot of agreement. I mean, I just pointed out that you like the Ravens team total over 29.5 as well. You and I found out this morning that we like a first half bet. So let's go to team total or a first half bet. Your option, your play here, dealer's choice. You like the Ravens in the first half.
Much to my delight, when I submitted this pick on the SportsLine website at 9:50 a.m., as I went to see if it properly uploaded, I saw at 9:49 a.m. my very intelligent friend Nejad placed the same exact bet. And I love the Ravens in the first half. It's been such a good bet. I mean, Lamar, for his career, 60, 34, and 2 against the spread in the first half. That's the best first half quarterback in NFL history since they've been covering this stat. 22-7 against the spread when that number is less than a field goal. And that's what we get here. So Mike talked about the team total being key at 30. They landed on that 30 number a number of times last season. 11 out of 17 games, they went 30 plus. And so often they're doing that work in the first half of the game. Larry talked a lot about Kirby Joseph's injury. They have a cornerback, DJ Reed, that's also banged up, along with Jack Campbell, who I mentioned too. So if the Ravens get out to an early lead, I think that offense just explodes right away, and they can really put their foot on the pedal. I like them to take this first half by more than a field goal.
And Mike, we know your play here is the first half team total over 13.5 for the Ravens. Larry, talk to me. You've got a creative play here.
Yeah, both teams have scored 10 points in the first half. I don't think we realize how great both of these offenses are or will be, because they have each faced one of the top two defenses in the league in terms of Green Bay and Cleveland. So now they get to face a similar team with a ton of offensive skill and not elite defense. And I think we get 20 combined, 10 for each in the first half.
I like that bet. And what did you say the juice was on that? Is that minus 118? That's fair. Yeah. That's totally